for the mobile, I labeled it mobile vendor discussion in my email that I sent out. I think it's more, because in Russellville zoning code, how I did it there, it's strictly mobile food vendor. But I don't think we want to like, in my opinion, I think we wouldn't want to encompass just food vendors. Like, we want to do mobile vendors as a whole. And then, obviously, there'll be more requirements for somebody who's selling pork rinds versus a food truck, or whatever the case may be. Just an example, but I think it would be important to encompass mobile vendors as a whole to require a permit. And then in the zoning code, we can kind of break down the requirements for a mobile food vendor or somebody else that would have additional requirements versus somebody that really wouldn't, like health regulations and stuff like that.
Yeah, they have to abide by a pretty good
Yeah,
portion of that.
right. And I think they have it broke down in Russellville's. They have that kind of stuff and the site requirements and sanitation. Um, So that's kind of why I wanted to bring it up. I think Russellville does a really good job as for mobile vendors, they're required to get a business license. That's valid through the year, but they have to keep it, their address, their location that they're operating out of, up to date with us. So 99% of them aren't going to have more than 5 employees, so they're looking at a $25 fee. And I don't know if it's necessary to get a stickers made or something, but if we just simply, I have like a PDF that I use to send out business permits and business licenses to folks. They just print that out and put it in their window or something. I think that would be
Laminated.
right, right. And we could do that. I could do that here as well. It's just something to where anybody that's, you know, oh, okay, they're good. They've done the due diligence of.
I just want to make sure that we don't make it, I understand why we need it,
Right.
but I also want to make sure that we don't make it so hard so that when we do have events here,
Right.
that we can't get vendors to come in, because
Right.
we just don't have the amount of business
Right.
that they do at the
But
Russellville.
it says in here, this is exempt to city.
Special events.
Special events that are whatever by the city, so.
And
So
I,
it would just be like somebody decides to set up
right,
down there on the corner. or
right,
something.
right. If Mackey's Catfish wanted to open up a spot and operate out of the mall there, we would require them to get a business license.
I just want to make sure.
Right, kind of,
I have that, because I'm thinking about the car show coming up
Right.
later too, so we'll make sure and get the right information out.
yes, ma'am. And even if it's like I mean, just for discussion, I don't know for special events if we want to offer a cut rate, you know, like if we still want to require an event permit, you know, $10, $5, whatever the case may be, we could include that in this. Because if they're only going to show up for a weekend, you know,
Do you require them to even have a permit if it's a permitted event by the city? They
that's
just need to have some
yeah.
health department permit.
Right. That's kind of would be just open for discussion. That's kind of why I just brought it up prior to us starting to really dig into it, change the zoning code, present it to council for
Yeah, I would say not even,
no charge.
yeah,
Did we not already discuss this?
yeah, we're just trying to get something.
Yeah, we talked about it my first month here. Well, actually, it was my month prior.
Yeah.
Whenever I was still at Russellville, I just showed up. Y'all had kind of brought it up, but I'm looking at getting the zoning code changed and start to implement it. Just I'm trying to nitpick the stuff out that we want to do and not do.
This last page, is that have anything to do with the zero lot line?
No, it was like 2
Oh, okay.
lines at the top there that I included.
So do we want to look at adopting this?
just gonna leave it open for y'all, to discuss, if y'all wanna look at it, and we come back to it with some more ideas or things that we wanna do. I just think it would be a good addition to our zoning code, another way for us to make sure people are doing the right thing. I mean, I don't know if all of it's pertinent to us, or if we wanna be as strict.
Is there anything on here about how often it has to move?
I don't think so.
I didn't see anything.
I think it's just strictly for,
One time Russell had it, and I think they dropped it. Didn't
Yeah.
they? Had to do a big run around with that.
Well,
They
what-
moved 6
yeah.
months or something, and they filed it. Because I think there's something.
Yeah, if someone puts in a food truck, then are we okay with them it being there for 5 years?
yeah, the foreseeable future.
Which I guess we are going to.
As long as they keep their license up to date, I would assume. Depending on, I think there is something about the zoning areas that it's permitted. Let's see. Yeah, I swear I saw something on that.
It says only 12 hours a day. I don't know if you saw that.
This says 12 hours a day, 1 day per week, and then
Excluding
which they must
special.
move to a new location.
Right. See, yeah, I think there's definitely some stuff that we can pull out of there.
That's on city-owned property. Yeah.
Yeah, permits on city-owned property.
That wouldn't be for if they had a leased spot or something.
So do we want to table this?
Look at it for, kind of look into it, or? Just open to y'all's feedback. I mean,
It has to go to the city council.
yes, yes. Yeah. I'm just trying to get the ball rolling and get anything that we want to keep or anything out that we don't want to keep prior to going to council. And then I'll also get the permit application worked up prior to.
Can you put it on the agenda for next month? And then that gives everyone time to
Study it a little bit.
study it. And
Yeah.
then next month we could do,
Kind of get it moving to council.
you could finalize it and then send it to
Yeah.
council.
That sounds good to me.
Maybe then we'll all know exactly what needs to come out.
Right. I think that's kind of my objective with all three things on this, is for y'all to just kind of think about it, get some different ideas, if it's applicable to Pottsville or not.
And like, I think she was asking, we're having a zipper price on it or something. Is that what you think we need to come up with?
It would be the business license process, yeah. So I mean, I don't see a food truck having more than 5 people employed, so $25 is probably gonna be the standard rate for all food trucks.
What's the other business license in Pottsville?
It'd be 25, 50, 75, like any business conducted, so, you know, that'd be like at 25, 75, and 100, it goes by 25s, depending on your
Based on
employees.
employees, right?
Yeah,
So does employee count mean the number of employees working at the time, or the total number of employees they have working
At that location,
at that level?
so if Mackey's, or just, I keep using Mackey's as an example, because that's.
Snow cones.
Yeah, snow cone, if they got 3 people working there, then it'd be $25, so.
But if they have like.
Overall, they had 10, it
But
wouldn't
they
be.
only have 2 there at a time, would be 50.
Right. But even if we want to change that, I mean, I don't think I'm unopposed, or like, I don't think it would be bad to just say, make a standard rate, just include it in the zoning
I
code.
received
just don't want somebody that's got a bigger company that's got 25 employees and hitting them for 75 or $100 in this group over
Right.
here that,
Yeah, 25.
for 25.
Everybody get your table next to look over, if there's anything, because I like to try to get something to the city council, here soon, for the next month, so, alright. So we'll move on to the site grading and drainage, permits.
So, I'm using Russville because that's who I was used to. This was, engineer, division, like, their bread and butter, but due to the event that happened at council last month, I just thought, hey, it might be a pertinent conversation, topic of conversation. The ordinance, if y'all, when y'all read it or have a chance to look at it, there's certain things, so like, you're not gonna require it for one individual home. You're not gonna require it for one duplex or 500 square foot, anything less than 500 square foot of a commercial project. So it would just require them to come in and submit to us saying, hey, I'm getting ready to do this, and I'm gonna grade and bring in fill and whatever the case may be. And from when I did deal with it, which I didn't too much because engineers took care of it, but they usually required that storm drainage. So if we just consume that into the code and building officials' responsibilities, saying, hey, you know, if you're gonna build 3 houses on Brooks Drive, we're gonna need to see a storm drainage plan. And that, to me, I would think kind of could have mitigated some of the issues that came before council, whereas I was like, we're kind of hands off. We don't have anything saying we have to require them to do this. So I was like, let me start digging into Russville stuff. Nobody that's gonna be in there is not gonna be an engineer,
That-
but.
That used to be part of the commercial, I know on the commercial side.
Right.
The packet, on
Right.
the plans
It
what
is.
was required for the storm drainage.
Right, right.
I thought Mariah had added it to the residential
It's
too.
not on residential. We don't have an ordinance, nothing covering that kind of thing.
It's not on the subdivision.
Yeah, so that's why I thought
Subdivision.
duplexes or
Yeah.
anything greater than duplexes, I thought it was.
Right.
It didn't cover like a single family
Right.
dwelling.
Anything triplex and up, all commercial, it's required, but if a developer says, I'm gonna do 2 houses right here on the corner of Redmond Road,
Oh, wow.
we're,
Wow.
Yeah.
I thought they really did. I thought that would have been added into that back when we got all the plans, the paperwork, because we copied, basically mirrored Russellville's
right,
plans when we did that, because that's when we
Right.
adopted the Arkansas Architectural Code and
right.
all of that.
Commercial, yes, but,
Basically, the only thing we're adding in is what would not be considered a subdivision, 2 houses, 3 houses.
exactly,
Because 3 houses and up is already
Right.
Subdivision, they still have to do storm drainage.
required.
right,
Curb and gutter.
because we don't,
Unless they do a country acre stuff,
right,
right, when they do country estates or whatever, the country acre,
They
Yeah.
don't have
the
the curb and gutter.
Right.
3 acres above, they're not, or they don't have to worry, the ditches
Right.
are just what they are.
Right.
Would we want this to apply to that? Because the country estates code that we wrote was supposed to be, more of a, budget-friendly style.
Well, couldn't you
And-
still put something in it
Yeah.
that would address ditches, but not have to do curb and guttering and all that,
Right.
and still meet what y'all were wanting to do back then? I mean,
I'll have to look into that ordinance at 1675 from Russellville, but I'm pretty sure it's in a certain acreage size, like where you're not gonna immediately affect someone.
Yeah.
It's excluded.
I think that ordinance we have, or whatever it is, it's for 2 acres.
Right.
I think it's 2 or 2.5 acres, lot sizes.
3 steps to the acre, or something like that.
So I think that's,
It was something that it was if, the health department would have to be involved with, all the tests and stuff,
Yeah.
because he'd get away with, that's what Randy Tucker was doing. The 2 to 2.5 acres or 2 1/4 acre lots on Sweet River with him, I think, so.
you have to have a
except for a single house family, a duplex, or 500 commercial. What if Premier, who the owner is, divides those things up into single home housing? They wouldn't have to do a thing.
So I guess we would have to kind of clarify the verbiage on that.
I don't know what you'd put in there.
I think like, I couldn't even say large-scale development, because that's too encompassing. We'd probably have to be very specific in the ordinance to say,
This is specific, and how could we change it to what we're, they could just divide the land up,
right,
and when,
split the 3 parcels and say, I'm only doing one at a time. Is this something that y'all would see pertinent? Like, should we look into adopting this kind of thing? Or, I mean, I'm just kind of opening it up. I think it gives the city some teeth.
Yeah, can we, I mean, this is the only time I've ever seen a need for this, really.
Right.
Can we think of anywhere else that this would come in?
We keep having issues out, like Oak Forest area. You know, there's a lot of, we don't have a lot of problems with the runoff from the additions that get built up the hill and run side and all that down Hissy Road and stuff like that.
Right.
Don't they have a lot of problems with the drainage, and they've got big ditches and some stuff over there, I know, but I don't think there was ever anything that was anybody was held to over there for, when they kept expanding, and everybody's water neighbor flows over to their fence and over there, and I just know I've heard they've had issues with city council with the, having to go over and do some stuff on that road, they were never, I mean, they just wanted to put a housing addition in, converted it to Oak Forest and stuff, they just, you know, I don't think, personally, I don't think part of it has curb and gutter, does it? Or anything over there that I know of.
Over where?
Oak Forest and kind of the place off Hissy Road back up, you know, at the T up there as you go up the hill towards the Pisgah Cemetery and stuff, all those houses and everything, they used to have, they had a lot of water problems right there with drainage and stuff, I think they've had.
Are you talking about like Blue Bonnet and all those sort
Yeah,
of poppy?
Yeah.
they've had a ton of drainage issues over
Yeah, I
there.
was thinking they did over there, they just, I mean, 'cause they just when they started building, no field and stuff, and I remember Bird, they started building that hill and back in there, and they just, nobody's ever had anything to do, anything in there, and that's, all that water keeps emptying in, those ditches gonna handle so much, and like I said, it's kind of a bowl over there, I think, because, that big old pond and stuff off, you know, Redmond Road and stuff, I mean, that's, part of it's kind of swamp, a little
Yeah,
bit, so,
Fox Creek.
yeah.
Is this something we could,
And it'd be, I mean, I don't know if it would probably help, oh, I'm sorry, there's.
oh, go ahead.
It'd probably help out, you know, in some cases like that, you know, somebody that's coming in there to do a new, because I think there is some parcels over for sale that if they're gonna come and try to split it, you know, we need to have something to get relief for, so we don't have what happened over here.
Right.
You know, what's going on, build something that just empties down the hill from the next people, or wherever you call it over there, and floods them out. It's really sad, evidently they're getting flooded out right now.
I think it's like a plan for, I think when it was a thing over in Russellville, but it really didn't start happening until, I think it was back in 2015, 2016, Shiloh Manor was built. And the proper steps weren't taken prior to clearing and stuff like that, so there's huge drainage issues, and it became, I mean, it was really not ultimately on the city, but it did cause us a lot of headaches in the long run, because we had to go back out and figure out a drainage plan that would work, and it just, in my opinion, if we're not ahead of it, then it's gonna cost us more money and more time in the long run. I just think this is it probably isn't as pertinent right now or
something you require like an engineered drawing on, or is this something you could go out and say, yeah, this one's gonna need a drawing, or this one's not, or?
I think personally, looking at it from, I think it would be smart to require an engineer's drawing and overview, since we don't have a city engineer, Or, I'd have to look at the ICC, maybe we make it a requirement for whoever the code and building official is to take a certain course for storm drainage.
Yeah.
And provide them with the tools to be able to
I know
assess it.
there's a lot of properties that need this, but there's a lot that don't. I just worry about adding more expense
Right,
to deter somebody
from building.
from building.
Right.
When you're commercial, we're gonna have a site plan,
Yeah.
and they should have that.
So this would really only,
It's really only for like one family home, two
Right.
Yeah.
buildings right
Right.
there in that general area. But the more the city grows, we're not a agricultural we are still a bedroom community, but we're not a booming commercial area with businesses everywhere. We're getting houses everywhere. The more we continue to grow, the more people pass on and family members break up that property and sell it, the more we're gonna start having this problem down the road, so. I mean, it's like he said, it's not a today or tomorrow thing, it's a 2, 3, 5 year down the road issue we're gonna start seeing more and more of.
It really just benefit, I guess, neighborhoods.
Yeah.
For the most
because
part.
we're already requiring this for all commercial, which is,
Right,
we're only making decisions for.
residential.
Yep, that little old spot where somebody's passed away and had 5 acres in their family, and they sold it off, and they're going, okay, we're gonna split it into 3 lots, and these 3 people are gonna build, well, then all of a sudden, they were up above this group, and they don't address any of the storm drainage, and now you got the people down here in this subdivision that's getting flooded. And that's kinda what happened over there in Oak Forest, like Robbie was saying, it's just, over time, it wasn't properly addressed when Chenoweth and them built all that years ago, back up in there.
I think this is another one that's just gonna be tweaking and
Yeah.
researching, and I just wanna kinda bring it up as part of a discussion, and we can, I don't think there's super urgency on it. I think it's just a relevant topic of discussion, especially after this ordeal at Brooks Drive.
Well, we don't have anything in our ordinances that's gonna make that Premier do anything, are we?
Not right now.
If they came in and got a permit, we couldn't turn them down.
Not from what I've found. Now, we can ensure that their drainage is not a public nuisance to their neighbors. That's state level stuff.
But that goes in civil and not here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, I just didn't like, throughout that whole situation, telling them, I'm sorry, I can't do anything for you. Where with this, I would at least have some kind of teeth to tell them, hey, I'm gonna talk with Barrett and Associates who gave us this and say it's definitely not, whatever, whoever, this isn't working, this isn't how you guys presented it. And we could have kind of went back to the drawing table, I guess.
But with a single house, this really didn't do us any good either.
Yeah, we wouldn't require it for a single family.
So they could put one house and cut all the trees down still, put the water whichever they wanted to.
Mhm.
Part of that issue too, was discussed the other night, falls back on the city, not doing things to get the drainage out properly. Over time, not just
Right.
now,
And that's where, this is going into that issue specifically. But I think, I know that there's something in Arkansas Municipal, that Municipal League released, and it, depending on how many houses that Brooks Drive is servicing, determines whether it's a public street or not. So right now, all I can find is this private drive with dedicated easements. it's 7. I want to say 7. I'd have to find it and look into it. I got it in one of my books. But if they're servicing more than 7 homes, then it's going to be, it's automatically becomes a public street.
There's 6 there now,
I'd have to look.
6 households, 2 duplexes, 2 houses.
Yep.
Well, a business,
Yeah.
business would count too, wouldn't it? And a business.
Yeah, and the business, industrial business back there.
Well, it sounded the other night that I guess we had paved it anyway already, hadn't we?
Yeah, it's almost like we assumed responsibility of it. To me, once you do that, you're kind of,
As George said, we set a precedent.
yeah.
Is there, can we have enforce, the duplexes, they say that the water's coming in the back doors or wherever they want sandbags. Can we, as a code enforcer, when they build, can you say you have to go up another block to remedy that
Go up another block.
foundation?
On the foundation.
Then they can put dirt and they can shed the water away.
Right.
It costs, I understand, but
Right.
it deletes a lot of problems.
Right. Now, that's something I'm
They were kind of complaining about an issue that they caused themselves by not building.
right.
Because-
Exactly.
And why is that? Because they're cheap. They wanna build it cheap,
Right.
and it's gonna come back and bite them in the butt.
Right. And as far as the answer goes, I'm not sure, Steve. I would have to read up on that.
Those have been there.
Well,
Right. I'm not sure on,
we could put a grading site in the permit showing the dirt going away from the house.
right.
Could do that.
Oh, yeah, make a swell, direct it to the right location.
Building it up high enough that you're gonna have a certain amount of fall away from the house.
Right, and that's kind of what the conversations that I've had with Premier is letting them know, hey, these are the concerns and the issues right now, but I told him, it behoove you guys to look at plans and make your plans to somehow get that drainage to go towards 331 and not the other direction. Now, that will require a lot of dirt work, yeah, but it would save them ultimately from a civil issue. But I mean, that's just kind of here nor there. And I've also printed out, I know Heath and Jason I've printed out this whole area, and I've got them on big maps that they're gonna give to the council, and they're marking all the grade and everything that they've shot out there to kind of look ahead, but I can't really see y'all, so y'all have to help me. Okay, so this one's off North D. We got 1, 2 duplexes, 3 house, I think that's a shop here, 4, 5, and then the industrial business. So we got 5, but making these,
So that'd be 7, wouldn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
cause you've got, the duplex are 2 single family.
right, now I'd have to look at,
Dwellings or.
yeah, if it's, yeah, right, but this would make it 6, 7, 8. So that automatically makes, this turns it into a city ordeal if it's not built properly. And I have, if y'all want me to, I can grab my phone real quick and show you the proposed plans from David Garza.
How does that property, does it fall this way or away from there?
I think it
Down
falls,
towards Brooks.
yeah, it falls down towards Brooks.
Yeah.
Where's the big deal?
At a certain point, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it kinda rise, what is it,
Yeah.
Scott and Scott's mom and dad's house.
Yeah.
They kinda fell back toward 331 from there, Scott Bell?
Right.
Kinda fell back toward 331 from there, and then the other direction, it goes down toward Brooks.
And see, I've had several folks, I even told Premier, I gave it to all the council members, but they have a road easement from Brooks that George that owned this property also owned this small house here, and he's got a utility easement that runs straight down this tree line into this property. Now, some of the questions that I have for water department and everybody is sewer, water, because from the current proposal, I'll grab my phone here in just a second, but it looked like from the current proposal, they were gonna extend from Crystal that was here talking at council. But I'll grab that so you guys can see the proposed plans real fast.
Ain't much water down there.
What do they want to do?
Do what?
This Premier, what are they wanting to build?
I don't know, that's what I was gonna ask. I had to leave and go teach CPR, so I
What
wasn't
is,
here when all
what
this
is
was brought up.
Premier wanting to do
Set in
Build
stone.
3 single-family homes,
on that
That's kind of their
acreage
proposal
right there?
5 acres, yeah.
right now,
Yeah.
rough draft.
It's 5 acres. Is it?
Yeah,
I believe
okay.
it's 5 acres, right? 5
No, this is, I can click on it there and it'll pull up it's right under 2, I think.
Oh,
I
okay.
can't see that.
1.5?
1.54.
Oh. So they're gonna be,
Good,
Tight.
Wow.
It's gonna be tight.
Yep.
It's gonna be tight.
Is there,
They're gonna be spec
Five
homes,
eighths
I'm
of a-
sure.
is
So
there-
5/8 of an acre.
probably
wide.
12.
is there
Like big.
enough room there for?
I'll tell you,
How's this
just
supposed to be
from
so
water
far
experience,
apart?
there's no water on that side, guys. There's
No,
hardly
there's
any
not,
water
yeah.
on D Street. Your water and your utilities are better off 331 by
That's what
far.
I told him too. That's exactly what I told him. And he asked about if they got an easement from this property from 331 about curb and gutter. And blah. I was like, man, you're gonna have to talk to the state because that's state highway. That's gonna be a state regulated.
Yep.
You know, I don't know.
One entrance and then one entrance in the land and hit this house, come down his house with this road. Got a road coming in here. And then this road.
A lot of big pieces.
so it's presented as a subdivision style, so.
But they're doing one entrance into
Who
it.
is
so
this
they-
Premier?
They couldn't divide.
PJ
the
Lyles and,
property up.
Right.
well, PJ Lyles.
I'd heard the name once before, but I
Yeah.
couldn't remember.
Okay.
So are they just doing 2, or are they gonna build one in the back, or what?
3 in a
so
row
3
right
will
there.
show you things at least one house. Actually, zoomed out.
Oh, there it is.
Now, from the discussions that I had with Premier, it was, prior to the council meeting, it was not in the foreseeable future are we gonna build these homes, but then Monday morning, I had, or Tuesday morning, I had this proposed plan, so I'm like, it's not what I was told, since we got some of the council members here that brought it to you.
Well, I know we had the,
You know who that is?
PFG,
Do what?
you know who those people are, don't you?
Yeah, that's why I was asking. I know I'd heard that name before, but
Who is it?
Shingler and Lyles.
Yeah, because the houses will be facing,
Brooks.
Brooks.
Yeah. And they have a utility easement from 331, but not a, I'm mistaken. I think they have a road and utility easement from 331, and then the road easement from Brooks Drive. The Brooks Drive easement has no restrictions. The 331 has restrictions against big rigs.
I don't know that.
So, just a lot of moving pieces. I've sent it all over to Jacob too, and pointed out what I got. Just one that,
3 homes is considered a subdivision, right?
I think more than 3, isn't it?
Is it 3 or 3 or more?
3 or more, I think. More than 3, I think. It's not large scale.
I was thinking 3 or more.
That's the proposed, that's the rough draft of their proposal.
And what about emergency vehicles?
Yeah, that'll come site plan time, but
Right.
it's a lot in one spot.
You might be able to
Yeah,
tell us
it'd be
about it. Like
One
emergency
drive is kind of,
Yeah.
that's not all you ask for, one way or the other.
Right.
And, of course, I don't think we could do a big rig, so, maybe they could have it easy to do whatever they want. Probably need to have a lot of stuff going on, if they could get that water to go that way, which I don't know.
Right, can
If
you?
they could do that.
Right.
Actually, I'd like to see what Heath and them come up with, 'cause I know that council had discussed with the water problem before with Miss Aretta, and they went out, I think they made some adjustments, cleaned some ditches, made another ditch across and stuff, and she's been happy as a lark, so I think that what was proposed with the city council, and Heath did some stuff, and the city council will look at it, would probably be a good answer. On the site plan, like I said, I think there's such a niche here. In my opinion, I don't know, like you said, you could look at if the, like yourself would take a class,
Right.
or you could do that, since we don't have an engineer, and see how that works as well, because I think the people the other night were looking for somebody that had credentials or something that could
Right.
go out and look at it and make a determination.
Right.
And maybe that would help our city out, or permit, like I said, commercial. We're only falling in a small area there that I don't know, that's maybe worth our code enforcement to be in the seat where they could do some
At
calls
least
like that.
certified enough where you can say, yeah, you for sure need.
I think it'd be a good, real good idea.
I mean, that's my opinion, I'm just saying that's.
More,
how y'all feel
more
about it.
knowledge, the more knowledge our person that's going out and doing these inspections
Right.
and looking at this stuff before it gets to us, the more knowledge they got, the better they can protect the city, the better off we are.
Yeah.
You just created more work for yourself
Hey,
than you did.
hey,
You did, you know, but I'm
That's,
just saying, you should
that's
do that,
fine.
but
That's fine. It's just, that was kind of my,
Other duties is assigned, right?
yeah, that's right, that's right.
But, I see, I think Brian has kind of alluded to this some, is that we keep bogging down with a lot of paperwork for somebody, how we're gonna keep people coming in here, because we're more bedroom right now than our commercial and stuff, commercial's already gonna hear to this. Why are we keeping, you know, and of course you have circumstances like this, but we wanna make sure we invite people in and try to accommodate as best we can.
Right.
And more of this is what we hear is wrong with other places. So.
Right.
So would they need to get that reviewed by the code enforcer before they start clearing, or?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, yeah.
It'd be a prior to kind of thing.
What if you're just clearing your
I mean, if they
land
were-
though and not knowing what you're doing
Right,
later?
if he just wanna clear, I mean, it's your right to do
Yeah.
that stuff, and we can't,
Tell you one way or the other.
yeah. We're gonna take the hedges down, it's your priority.
Probably really gonna come down to whenever you're starting
Right.
permit.
Right. Or do we just, I don't know, because then that's, I mean, I was gonna say, included, I don't know how we would word that, but included in a residential building permit on a case-by-case basis, or,
A little bit of site inspection,
Right.
for drainage and
Right.
stuff.
like whenever I would go out to do the site prep and setback verification inspection, depending on what's being built or the discussion, you determine at that point, hey, we're gonna have to look a little further into this. I don't know.
Some of the preliminary stuff, yeah.
Right, just kind of a thought. Sitting with people smarter than me, so.
How's y'all's feelings on this subject? Does anybody feel one way or the other, if y'all
I kind of nixed
table
this.
till next
Are
time?
we, what, I mean, where are we at right now? We're still on the,
Site grading,
grading,
drainage.
Yeah, I'd like for us to maybe research on what we could get ourselves qualified in,
Okay.
before we, that's just me.
I agree.
I don't wanna just jump into anything yet.
Right. We we'd have to do a ordinance on this whole ordeal as well. Okay.
Could we ask, could we, in, what I want to word this, some properties doesn't need drainage, it's gonna automatically do it. But in this case, we've got flat area.
Right.
If we had low-lying, if we specifically put low-lying area land for residential, would have to meet certain criteria for getting water away from there. That would not tie up the whole housing deal, but it would solve the problem at this time.
Right.
Because some of them, well, you gotta get a site plan. Well, I'm on a mountain, where's it gonna go in away from it? And go down it. So you're just wasting money there, but in this other case, if it's some flat land, yeah, we need some idea how we're gonna take care of this drainage. And when he's putting 3 houses on there, and it's 3 footprints, that it's not absorption field, then it's just complicating more and more.
Right.
Tomorrow, look at DEQ.
I think that would
They
leave it
have
open
a
for opinion though, wouldn't it?
You
They
don't
have
have
a
to give
general
opinion, but you.
construction
it's just a
stormwater permit.
Flatland,
And this says, any activity
level
that
area.
disturbs 1
And it
acre or
doesn't
more
take much to
of land
back water up on
has
some
to
spot.
have a stormwater pollution plan and be covered under that
I would
permit.
think those 3 houses would slow.
So if
the
they
water
have
down
a-
off that hill.
Stormwater pollution prevention plan,
Right.
I don't know that
the people that
Right.
write
houses
those
is gonna prevent
know
the
what
issue,
they're doing.
Right.
or cause the
Right.
issue from
It's
what they've
typically
already
an
got.
engineer or
Right.
somebody like
Exactly.
Mortenberg, those
Right.
people.
They're complaining about the water running off that hill already, so.
So
Do we know if the city shot any grade this week?
if they go out
They
and
said
do
they-
that,
They've been working on it.
they should
They're
already
printing off
be
a map.
covered under that and have the plan. But
Right.
now,
That's kinda shoot that
Whether
hill,
that's happening
too,
or not.
Well, I mean, wasn't they talking about the creek running through there?
Yeah, I'll probably butcher it, but just from a probably 2-minute conversation that I had today, and I can't see very well, so got my glasses on. So here's D. They were saying that it kind of runs off and kind of trickles back behind some of these folks' properties and then runs into this pond here. So it comes.
I don't know that any of it means very
No,
much.
We can do what we can do
Yeah,
on our
right
right of
in
way,
that area,
but
yeah.
we can't, say, well, we're gonna,
Swampy.
I mean, unless we get permission, come in here and,
That whole subdivision's in a bowl down there.
Yeah.
it is barely, I mean, it's at the bare minimum, it is super low. It's just that is probably the most flooded area in Pottsville, one of them, it's not a good spot. But Heath and Jason got more on that than I do. They've been working on it. I just got them some maps to start prepping everything for the council.
I guess the sewer system probably couldn't take any of it, could it?
Probably not.
We'll table that for now.
Yeah.
Next, we have the right of way applications.
I think, this was something that I worked on with Junior Marple over at Russellville. I think this is just I think there's some tweaking that we can do for Pottsville, but I also think that it would be very helpful because I can't tell you since DMI's been here how many phone calls I've received of, hey, such and such was out here and hit my water line or this or that. And then like, okay, well, how do we have any accountability of any company that's doing work in our public right of way? How do we hold folks accountable? And there were so many times, and it's not just hitting water lines, it's restoring my yard, I think anything with that, it's pertinent to us to have And super relevant to have something to say, we know what company's out here doing this work. And not, okay, well, the city's gonna eat the entire cost of fixing this water line because,
This is just remain like utilities that are coming in.
yes, sir.
What does the state do? Because they've been, doing their work on state highways.
Right. They're supposed,
A lot of yard repair.
Right.
My place.
right,
The roads where it's been pretty quick and they're laying aside.
right,
Now, for me, it's been, they're doing a better job than what I expected,
right,
but they messed up the drainage because it's on a state road.
right. They're supposed to, anything that's done on the state, they're supposed to pull ARDOT permit through the state. Now, I'm sure that they probably did, because they wouldn't have state would have stopped them immediately. But I'm sure they pulled some sort of permit to be in that right of way. And I just think, for me, I take this one a little personal because I helped get it up and going, but I just think that it's a good idea. It's accountability thing, because I'm telling you, if the more fiber companies and folks that we have come in here, Brightspeed's gonna say it was DMI's gonna say it was Optimum, Optimum's gonna say it was Ritter, and you go in this big circle, and then the city is like, okay, well, we're gonna have to fix this. And they'll have their fiber optics laying out in yards, and it becomes a huge mess, and it's just like, hey, okay, I know Ritter was here, DMI was here, who's gonna answer for this, I think this one's a really good idea for us. And I think that it's it's not that we're looking to be a hindrance or gain a prestigious amount of money from a company, but it helps us with some sort of revenue for allowing someone to come in if we're not, charging certain fees and stuff. It at least gives us something to say, we would be able, for the instances that we can't pinpoint who made the mistake, it covers some costs for some damages that have been done, whereas we're just eating all of that right now.
Would that include, us going back and checking after they did the work?
There wouldn't really,
It covers here for the bond, 2 years. Shows here you have final reinspection in 2 years for them to get their bond back.
there's a lot of it on here that I don't think is necessary.
Yeah.
I think we can tweak the fees and the bonds and stuff. I don't think that it would be,
On a large project like they're doing right now, probably working on the bond,
right.
they came back, like you said, there's some places, when it was raining a lot,
Yeah.
there's some places and some neighborhoods they went through that I
Right.
seen homeowners out there putting dirt back in their yard
Right.
and stuff.
I mean, it only
Well-
costs for a $500 or $1,000 bond, which, that's $1 million project they're doing. So I
Right.
think they're
Right,
looking
and
to
they're being paid by the government to do it as well, so,
Well, and two, those boring machines.
Yes.
And I can tell you from experience at Russellville, they'll hit a water line, they know about those because the water shoots everywhere.
right,
I would about guarantee 30% of the sewer service lines in Pottsville have got a fiber run right through, because you hit a sewer line and
Right.
nobody knows it
nobody knows.
till it gets stopped up and Roto-Rooter tries to come clean it, and then there's a fiber line running through the center of it, and then the city's gotta go out and fix it.
Yep. It was like a month and a half after me being here, and we already had another fiber company reach out, and I was kinda asking, hey, what are we requiring of them? And it's like, we just had them come in, and I'm like, okay, well, this one, okay, but the following ones, it's gonna, we could be looking at a substantial amount of money of repairs that we're doing and not.
DMI has some issues though.
Yeah.
I mean, they've had their share of.
Right.
They've also said that they're gonna be responsible for any and all repairs too.
Right,
They,
And
everything I
that's
see,
right,
everything I seen, they were fixing pretty quick. But they were also supposed to map, while they're doing this, weren't they mapping all of our current utilities?
right.
So that was kind of a
that's another thing, just kind of on the same topic, but that I'm trying to look into. I'm working with a company called ArcGIS right now. I think we've got to get a system in place on our website, a GIS system, that it breaks up, it pulls this information from AR County showing current owners of properties. It also feeds in any utilities that we have mapped out from Crafton, Toll, whoever, to where anybody in our city can go on and say, oh, okay, well, TCW ran fiber optic in this area, this so far off my property line, except whatever the case may be. Same for water, and they're doing that anyway. Like the maps that they post on Facebook and stuff, they use a GIS system to do that, and then they snip it and throw it online. So, I mean, all it would be is, hey, you're required to give us this mapping prior to you doing it. And that's another way to where we're not running out there every single time. Hey, permit such and such, this number, he's over here, and I see on his plans, they're supposed to be here today. And there's a whole lot of other things that we can do with
We
that.
put that on the permit, that they're required to provide a GIS map?
Yeah, I think that'd be a good thing for us.
Can I ask about the inspection? I'm just gonna throw it out there. I'm not saying it needs to be done or not, one way or the other, but like my husband was out brush hogging this little branch that comes down the side of the road, and he buried it in the depth tractor. I mean, he buried it and left a big hole. If you got somebody out that does look at it afterwards, that would keep us from coming back in 6 months later and saying, oh, look at that hole they left, when it's actually us, we want you to come fix that.
Right.
Odds of that happening is not very big. I'm just
Right.
devil's advocate. So we can-
Right.
Did you go fix it? Did you go fix it?
No, it'll wash out.
It'll
It's
wash
time
out.
to wash out.
Called herself out.
Right.
No, we're not that.
Yeah.
We
Put
could-
that on
Or
minutes.
that's something I can turn that in here in a few months, yeah.
Do we have a Pottsville version of this we could vote on next month?
I can get something. We'll have to do an ordinance for it as well.
Yeah, it was meant for us.
Yeah.
Approve it.
Oh, yeah,
City
to
council.
recommend approval.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I can get to work on that. I think this one would just be really good for us, for sure. I mean, it's not really gigging, we're not really gigging individuals, we're getting the companies and holding them accountable, so.
That one kind of bothered me when they had him come and talk to us, that we
There's
really
not
didn't
much
have
bond.
anything in place.
No.
No, yeah, I think a bond is decent. I mean, if you're doing $1 million project, fee.
They'll just forget that. Those, they have a bond.
Could you control the bond on the size of the project?
Right.
So, hell, if you had a $10,000 bond for what they've done.
10,000 might get their
You
10.
disrupted it.
I don't, that's just not enough to want to make them come back.
They're doing more than a mile of utilities required. X amount more.
Is there anything,
Could we, Steve was talking about the size of the bond,
yeah,
like 500 and 1,000 is, maybe if someone's just doing a little bit of work, but for like the DMI project, it's not gonna
like would we base it off of
size.
how much area they're covering, or?
So maybe even if they're running more than a mile of utilities or something, require a
Wouldn't it be based off the
Cost.
cost of their project?
Overall cost.
cost or something. I mean, $1 million, as big a job DMI did, I mean, you could expect like a $10,000 bond.
Right.
Then that would offset some of the expenses Fox's had.
They've hit,
But would they care less about what they're gonna damage, knowing that it's prepaid?
I don't know. I mean, if you had them sign like this, and that's why I like this idea, if you have them sign that, and they're, like you said, it was verbal that they were gonna go back and fix the damages, if it's in there, they've signed it, and they've got that bond, where you can hold their feet to the fire, at least got a little more teeth to make them fix stuff.
they'll fix it.
I know they didn't come back and fix my
$10,000,
yard.
they gotta pay it.
I asked them to come back and fix it, and they never come back and fixed it, so I ended up fixing it, but it wasn't bad damage, but.
Yeah, I haven't had too many big complaints, but there has been a couple like where they didn't know that they hit the water line and somebody
obviously different, maybe
So,
a heftier bond for a larger project.
DMI may be a good one to reach out to, since they've already started, so this won't pertain to them.
Right,
What
right.
other cities are requiring you to do bonds?
Right.
They're grandfathered in.
Yeah, lucky them. So I'll get to work on the ordinance and tweaking our permit application and kind of, I'll reach out to DMI, see what other cities are charging them to do stuff and then I will.
You guys get off free.
Yeah, yeah. You gotta give me some information if you want to stay that
Yeah,
way.
at all, very least, it's just gonna cost their competition.
Right, right.
But don't tell us too high prices.
Right, right. Yeah, $1 million now. But, so I will get a right-of-way permit application for specific to Pottsville. Now, for the bond, probably just use verbiage based on costs, some kind of,
Yeah, you might even find something in
yeah,
other cities.
try to look something up and,
Just put a percentage.
Yeah, it's typically a percentage of the
Right.
overall
Building
cost.
permit.
and then I'll work on that ordinance and try to get it to Jacob, and next month I'll bring it up for approval from y'all, and then we'll take it to council. But everybody's on board with that.
Feel good about that?
That's,
As far as the business, we got the motion and second to adjourn, all in favor, say aye. Opposed, same sign. Thank you all so much.
thank you all.
Right. 14/2/18/130. Okay, real quick.
Thank you, Mr.
Look
Riley.
up 14/2/18-130, Arkansas code.
14 dash,
14-218-130. It falls under contractor bonds, but it's public utility improvement districts. Arkansas law requires them to post bonds already for that public utility improvement.
thank you, sir.
I think we could pretty easily add that.
Right.
And it may even show a breakdown, I didn't pull the whole thing up, but it may even show a breakdown of what the state requires for bonds on